You know what's frustrating? Watching football and instantly seeing the right pass, the right run, the right decision. But when you're actually on the pitch, you miss it. You hold the ball too long. You force a pass. You run into pressure. You make choices that you know are wrong the moment they leave your foot. And then after the game, you're standing there wondering, if I understand football, why don't I play like it? Most players think the answer is simple. My football IQ isn't high enough. But that's usually not true, because some of the smartest players in training become some of the worst decision makers in matches. And today, I want to show you why. Because the thing ruining your decisions probably isn't your football IQ at all. It's something much deeper. And once you understand it, football starts feeling slower, clearer, and easier. Let's clear up one massive misunderstanding. Football IQ is not knowing what the correct decision is. Football IQ is recognizing the correct decision quickly enough to use it. That's a huge difference. Imagine I pause a football match, freeze every player, give you 10 seconds to analyze the situation. Most players can identify the correct pass, the correct movement, the correct option. But football doesn't give you 10 seconds. Sometimes it gives you 1 second, sometimes half a second, sometimes less. And that's where players get exposed. Because matches don't test your football knowledge. They test your ability to access that knowledge under pressure. Think about school. Knowing the answer at home and knowing the answer during an exam are two different things. Football works the same way. Many players blame intelligence when the real issue is performance under pressure. And if that's true, then improving your decisions requires a completely different approach. Here's the real reason most players make bad decisions. Their brain is overloaded. Football is an information game. Every second your brain is processing where the ball is, where teammates are, where opponents are, space, pressure, movement, time, risk, options. The problem? Most players are trying to process all of this after receiving the ball, which is already too late. By the time the ball arrives, your brain is suddenly forced into emergency mode. And emergency mode creates rushed decisions. This is why two players with identical technical ability can look completely different in matches. One looks calm. One looks panicked. One seems to have endless time. One looks rushed every touch. The difference is rarely intelligence. The difference is preparation before the ball arrives. Elite players don't make decisions faster because they're smarter. They make decisions faster because they started thinking earlier. And that's where everything changes. Lesson 1. Your decision is made before your first touch. Most players think receiving the ball is the start of the action. It's not. The action started several seconds earlier. Watch top midfielders. Before receiving possession, they're constantly checking. Looking left, looking right, checking shoulders, scanning space, scanning pressure, scanning teammates. By the time the ball reaches them, they've already built a picture of the field. The decision isn't happening now. The decision happened earlier. That's why they look calm. And that's why average players look rushed. Imagine someone asks you a difficult question. If you've been thinking about it for 30 seconds, you'll answer smoothly. If they ask without warning, you'll struggle. Football works exactly the same way. The less information you gather before receiving the ball, the more panic you experience when it arrives. Practical challenge. In your next training session, focus on one thing only. Scan before receiving. Not once. Repeatedly. Build the habit of gathering information before the ball arrives. You will immediately feel like the game is slowing down. Because in reality, you're simply becoming prepared earlier. Lesson 2. Fear destroys decision-making. This is the part nobody talks about. Many bad decisions aren't tactical mistakes. They're emotional mistakes. Think about the last time you forced a pass, or dribbled into trouble, or cleared the ball unnecessarily. Were you confused? Or were you scared? Fear changes decision-making. Fear of losing possession. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of criticism. Fear of failure. When fear enters the equation, your brain stops searching for the best option. It starts searching for the safest option. And those are not always the same thing. This is why talented players often become conservative. They stop taking opportunities. They stop playing forward. They stop expressing themselves, not because they lack football IQ, because fear is controlling the decision. The best players aren't fearless. They simply trust themselves enough to stay calm under pressure. Confidence doesn't make you technically better. It makes your brain more available, and that directly improves decisions. So next time you analyze a bad choice, don't immediately ask, "What should I have done?" Ask, "What was I afraid of in that moment?" That question reveals much more. Lesson 3. Your training is creating your match decisions. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Many players train in a way that actually makes decision-making worse. They spend hours doing drills with predictable outcomes. No pressure, no uncertainty, no opponents, no consequences. Then they're surprised when matches feel chaotic. Football decisions improve through exposure to decisions, not through isolated repetition alone. Think about it. If every training drill has only one obvious answer, you're not training decision-making. You're training execution. Both matter, but they're different skills. The best football brains develop by repeatedly solving problems. Small-sided games, positional games, pressure situations, overloads, transition moments, environments where players must constantly adapt. Because football is not a memory test. It's a problem-solving test. And the players who improve fastest are usually the players who spend more time solving football problems, not just repeating football movements. Lesson 4. You're playing too fast. This sounds strange, because football is a fast sport. But many players actually rush, and rushing creates mistakes. Watch young players under pressure. Everything becomes urgent. Touches become rushed. Passes become forced. Movements become chaotic. They think speed means acting immediately. Elite players understand something different. Speed is not rushing. Speed is clarity. A player who sees the picture early can play quickly without panicking. A player who sees the picture late feels rushed. One player looks composed. The other looks frantic. Same tempo, different preparation. One of the easiest ways to improve decisions is to stop treating every situation like an emergency. Sometimes the best option is one touch. Sometimes it's 3. Sometimes it's a pass. Sometimes it's keeping possession. The goal isn't to play fast. The goal is to play correctly. Ironically, players who focus on correct decisions usually end up playing faster anyway, because clarity naturally creates speed. Lesson 5. The best players recognize patterns. This is where football IQ actually comes from. Not intelligence. Experience. Patterns. The more situations you experience, the more patterns your brain stores. And eventually those patterns become automatic. A defender shifts. You instantly recognize space. A fullback steps forward. You immediately attack behind. A midfielder turns. You know where the next pass will go. This isn't magic. It's pattern recognition. The reason experienced players often seem one step ahead isn't because they're predicting the future. They've simply seen similar situations hundreds of times before. And the good news? You can accelerate this process. Watch football differently. Don't watch the ball. Watch decisions. Watch positioning. Watch movement. Pause matches. Ask yourself what you would do. Then compare your answer to what actually happens. You're training recognition, and recognition becomes faster decision-making. So how do you actually use all of this? Simple. For the next month, focus on 4 habits. Habit number 1. Scan before receiving. Constantly gather information. Habit number 2. After mistakes, analyze emotions as well as tactics. Identify fear. Habit number 3. Spend more time in game realistic situations. Pressure creates growth. Habit number 4. Study football patterns. Watch players in your position. Focus on decisions, not highlights. If you do these consistently, your decision-making will improve naturally. Not because you suddenly became smarter, but because you removed the things preventing your intelligence from showing up. And that's the shift I want you to remember. You're probably not making bad decisions because you're low IQ. You're making bad decisions because you're overloaded, underprepared, rushed, or playing with fear. That's good news, because those things can be fixed. Football intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every scan, every match, every pressure situation, every mistake you learn from. The players who improve fastest aren't the ones searching for secret tactics. They're the ones training their ability to see the game clearly. So stop asking, "Am I smart enough?" Start asking, "Am I seeing enough information early enough?" Because the moment you do that, the game begins to open up. And suddenly the decisions that used to feel impossible become obvious. If this video helped you see football differently, subscribe and join the journey. Because the smarter player isn't always the most talented one. It's the player who learns how to think before everyone else.